Hello, everybody. This is going to be the celestial chatter for March 21st through 27th. I'm doing this on the Friday, the full moon prior to that week, but it's when the window opened up for me to do this. Even though Sunday was the Aries ingress, I'm not going to begin by talking about Aries because there's another factor in play that lingers with the Piscean arena. And I want to be very clear or very specific with what it is that I have to say. And the reason for that is because this is about Mercury. Mercury is currently in Pisces. It's been in Pisces now for a little over a week, maybe a week and a half. Last week I mentioned about, I think it was last week, about Mercury being in its detriment and fall while in Pisces. And this is a technique for giving a context to the strength and proclivities that any planet may carry while in any particular arena of the astrological matrix. One of the two reasons why Mercury's in its detriment, which basically means that it's in a sign opposite from one that it rules. Mercury rules two things, one being Virgo. Pisces is opposite from Virgo. The other is Gemini. And Pisces, where Mercury is right now, is in a square aspect to Gemini. Oppositions or squares bring about tension. They bring about our capacities to utilize that kind of planetary energy are going to be challenged. Being really clear on this, because Mercury right now, as it goes through the last, little more than 10 degrees of the sign, is going to be actually mixing with Jupiter, Neptune, and then eventually entering Aries, which is when I'll be able to cover the Aries thing just a little bit more. But Mercury is how we think, how we communicate. With Mercury being in Pisces, the process of clarity of thought and clarity of speech they're being weighed down in some fashion from the perspective of that square and opposition from the signs that it rules. That what this can do for, well, there's several factors in there, but how to speak or think clearly, besides the fact of it being in opposition and square to the signs that it rules, are the fact that it's dancing with Jupiter and Neptune, the two rulers of Pisces, and in the realm of Pisces, which, it can, I was going to use the term illuminate, but it can bring to focus levels of imagination that come into play in unique fashion and can often spell challenges to our effectiveness of being able to transmit the thoughts through vocabulary of what it is that we want to communicate. And it's for this reason that I want to be really, really specific on this particular week that's coming up. It's not going to be easy. For what it is that we hope to communicate with those that we want to communicate with. So if you feel yourself getting a little tongue-tied during this next week, take some time to really think through as much as possible what you're trying to convey to someone else or to, other groups, or however, at whatever level your communication is having to take place at. Because the chance of saying something that may not come across as clearly as you had hoped is raised, substantially during this next week. The realm of illusion, it's going to be in play the whole week. And as Mercury dances across Neptune specifically, but the whole entire time it's in Pisces, this is going to be a factor in whether or not we're going to be able to fine-tune the message or messages that we believe are relevant to share with others. So try not to get too down on yourself if you find yourself tongue-tied or, having a hard time thinking of the appropriate language to use. You would say that, one of the factors I say, well, do it logically. Well, logic in the astrological matrix is a signature of Virgo. Mercury rules Virgo. Mercury's in the sign opposite from Virgo. So logic will not necessarily be one of the underpinnings that you're going to be able to count on as you fabricate what it is you want to share with other people. So have patience. Let's take a look at this chart business for this week. This is the chart from Monday, and you can kind of see that Mercury up here has just passed over Jupiter. Jupiter's energy is always, related to how much expansion can I apply to the current consideration? Because Jupiter's largest planet in the solar system, everything it touches or touches it is basically being asked to expand, grow, fill out every parameter of the experiences that are around you as much as possible. This is Mercury, how we think and talk, touching Jupiter in the sign that Jupiter is the traditional ruler of, Pisces, which is not always the easiest of the signs to grasp. And part of the reason for that inability to grasp it easily is because this is the most deep and profound level of astrology, of the astrological signs that exist, because it is the conversation or the process that one goes through when they're delving into the experience of what does it mean to connect with source, whatever source happens to mean to you. It is in that realm of Pisces that the relevance is going to be taking place. So this Mercury dancing across Jupiter on Monday, pretty early on Monday, might have you wanting, the initiation is there to, say something big, make a point and stuff. Just remember what I just said about Mercury being in Pisces right now. Use some caution with those particular words you choose to say that. And let's go to the next chart. This is the chart for Tuesday next week. I put it in there because on this day, you can see this nice big square that happens down here between Mars traveling in Aquarius, basically in square to Uranus traveling down here in Taurus. Uranus, the current or the modern ruler or having modern affinity with Aquarius. It's a square though, and Uranus can be a little bit on the disruptive side. And Mars is kind of like, I'm a warrior, and disruption is, it's par for the game when you really think about the kinds of impulsive energy that Mars and Aries, which Mars rules, bring into any equation. And so I would, on Tuesday is also a Mars day, Lunes, the moon or moon day, and Martes, Mars day. Mercules, Wednesday is Mercury day. But Tuesday's a Mars day. And on this Tuesday, Mars dancing in square to Uranus is going to paint it's going to have an impact on a couple of things. One is Mars is in Aquarius. What are the humanitarian or implications of what group energy could entail? That is, basically the Aquarian archetype. How is the group function transpiring? And Uranus is saying, well, let's shake that up a bit, so it's conceivable that there might be, and this, actually might play into the Mercurial factor that's going on right now in Pisces, in that, in the group context, that, restless Mars type energy, even though it's close to Venus, it could stir up levels of interaction that, you're going to want to, in some level, talk out or communicate with other people to share those thoughts. And the Uranus down there is saying, yeah, go ahead. What's the worst that can happen? Well, let's see. Perhaps people in the group may not be able to communicate effectively with one another in a fashion that is cohesive. That's the kind of energy that could be at play on Tuesday. Let's go to Wednesday. Okay, Wednesday. This doesn't look right. Nope, it's not right. Okay. There we go. Wednesday. You guys see Mercury is caught up with Neptune. Now, just a little bit more specific, though I don't know how much more specific will be the possibilities for illusion and imagination to be at play with the things that we have to say, but it's going to be in the mix, not in a small fashion. You can kind of see that Mars has already moved just a hint beyond that direct square to Uranus, but still in play. It's less than a degree away, about half a degree away from that square. So it's in play. The next chart that I look at, let's see if we can do this. Okay. Bouncing the charts is the 26th, which is Saturday. The reason that I jumped from Wednesday to Saturday is because Saturday is the next time I saw an aspect that was relevant. And on Saturday, Mercury forms a square with Pluto. A sextile with Pluto up here near the end of Capricorn. Pluto, it demands things of us. It demands us to transform in a very dynamic fashion. Those day-night kind of shifts, caterpillar, butterfly, fly transformations. And so as we go into that weekend experience, continue to make sure that you're paying very close attention to what it is that you say, because that Plutonian sextile to it is going to, it may just spin something out of your mouth that in short order you will regret, because unless you yourself are able to facilitate willingly a transformative shift within you, then be cautious of who else you invite into that kind of energy. Because, in this case, once Mercury opens its mouth and Pluto's involved there, it's on the table. And because it's on the table, later you may have to go back and apologize to the person that you opened that particular avenue or channel up with, to see if there might be some ground that you can ameliorate or bow yourself before them, seeking an apology or maybe a thank you from them. You just never know. It may be just exactly what they needed to hear. But the chances of a Mercury in Pisces coming out with something that is delightful and entertaining, I would say Mercury is still the trickster, always an option. Just be aware of the fact that when the trickster energy is being tickled, you don't know for sure what is going to transpire. So that's exciting stuff. I'm not going to show you a chart for Sunday, but on Sunday, Mercury's going to move on into Aries. And this is 1 week after the Aries ingress transpired. So that Aries impulsive energy is in the air. There's a drive to do. And because of the Mercurial factor that's in play for this first full week of the Aries dance, just be aware of the need for some, my brain says you want to say thought before you jump, which is, from an Aries perspective, not necessarily an easy way for that to make that case, because Aries is ready, fire, aim. It's that kind of a drive and impulse to do something that doesn't always have a pre-thought as to where it might lead. It's action oriented. It wants to accomplish something. This is basic Aries that is in some fashion out there to not, and it isn't like a Leo out there to make an impression or anything. It just, the drive to do is so friggin' strong in Aries. It's you can almost picture a substantial level of restlessness that Aries represents. And I think that's a really good term for Aries, because if there is a curtailment of the capacity to actually go out and do something, that initiative to begin something, anything, if it's being thwarted or contained in any fashion, you can kind of feel that Martian energy just pushing up against it, saying, get out of the way, get out of the way, I got to do something. And, often, I think a good example is, picture this, if you will. You got a hot car, one of those muscle cars from out of the 60s. And Aries is the accelerator pedal. And the further you push down that accelerator pedal, the faster the car goes. Where could this lead? Well, you better be really, really in control if you're giving that accelerator too much gas. Last night during my dreams, I was thinking about all these things that the Mercurial factor was bringing into play for today. And as I was contemplating the gas pedal for Aries, I was thinking, you see that car racing along that road, ostensibly to get somewhere that it isn't, to the next, road marker of some kind. And then you step back a little bit and you look at the county or the state where that car is rolling along. It's just kind of like the car is just barely moving on the state map. And then you go look at the globe and you can say, I don't even see the car. It's a speck. And then you contemplate the universe or the galaxy we're in. And it's kind of like, no matter how much you press that accelerator pedal on your muscle car, the significance in the larger picture is pretty friggin' small. So think very carefully if you happen to have a capacity at your avail for accelerating your movement on beyond where you are, as to how relevant will this thing that I'm doing right now be tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, 7 years from now? What's the rush, Gus? This is Aries, and Aries has got that drive. And I don't think that any of us is going to be able to ignore it. But particularly in this first week, what we think, what we say, and what we do are going to be linked up in a matrix that says, be cautious. Because it may be that your thoughts are not going to be able to keep up with what it is you drive to do says that you need to accomplish. So that's the main crux that this next week brings for us to live with. And this is just going to be a short one this week because it's mostly about that Mercury moving through Pisces with an Aries backdrop, and Mars is going to still be going through Aquarius. So the the energy that we sense for how our footprint exists within whatever group context that we're living in or with is going to transpire. Use your words wisely. This could be a week where foot and mouth disease, it could be running rampant. So thanks for paying attention. This is a short one this week. Until next week, this is Jeff Peters signing off from astroshapeshifter.com, astroshapeshifting.com. They all work. They'll get to my website one way or another. And this has been Celestial Chatter. See you next time. Ciao.